How to use LinkedIn if you're a college student looking for a job. I'm Greg, I'm the introverted networker, and today I'm focusing on using LinkedIn for your networking if you are recently graduated from college and looking for a job. Now, this will work for anybody who's looking for a job, but I'm specifically focusing on college graduates because it's the summertime. I know a lot of college graduates are out there still looking. I did a Q&A a couple weeks ago and got a bunch of questions about college students and how they can network to find a job. And it got me thinking of some of the things I tell college students all the time. They should start with who they know, and they know more people than they think. They often think they don't have a network because they haven't been working, but they honestly know a lot of people. And they just need to really kind of expand their scope of who they might know and who they might talk to. The other thing I tell them a lot is they have a different perspective they can offer when they're networking, meaning they can approach people who have been working for several years and say, well, this is what the current thinking is in my college courses, or this is what we're learning, or here's what people my age think about this topic. And so that's unique because a lot of people who have been working for a long time sort of like to hear what's new and what people are doing. So I think that in a lot of ways, college students underestimate their abilities when it comes to networking. But I want to talk about LinkedIn specifically today because I was talking to a recent college graduate who's searching for a job, and she is looking in a specific field. She's done a bunch of applications. She said she's applied to like 30 jobs. She's had lots of interviews and gotten pretty far along, but no jobs yet. And so she's a little bit frustrated, and she's kind of looking for different suggestions. So I started looking at her LinkedIn profile. I started thinking about what she was doing in terms of applying, and it got me thinking, okay, well, what advice would I give someone who was in this situation? So you're applying for jobs, you're doing the standard, go online, you find a job, you're applying, you're putting in your resume, all your information, and then you're just waiting through the process. But while you're doing that, there's a lot of things you could be doing with LinkedIn to help either with the jobs that you're applying to or jobs that maybe you don't know about yet. And so I wanted to cover some of those things today. So we're going to start off with the first most important thing, which is your profile. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when I look at a college student or a college graduate's profile, they'll have something in their headline that says like they just graduated from University of wherever with their degree in whatever, and that's it, right? So your headline is key. And I'm not the only one to tell you that. Anybody who tells you about LinkedIn and talks about your profile, your headline or your title is the most important part, because that's what people are going to see when they look at your profile. When they search for something, they're going to see search results. They're going to see your headline. If you don't tell them in the first part of your headline what it is you're planning to do or what it is you want to do or what you're interested in, you're missing an opportunity. Because they're not just going to read through your entire profile. They're just going to look at your headline to determine if they want to even read more. What you need to do is make sure if you are searching for a job in an industry, what I would say is pursuing roles in blah, 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 whatever industry you're in. So, for example, if you're looking for a job in criminal justice, pursuing criminal justice roles at state and federal agencies. If you want to work for the FBI or the State Bureau of Investigation or some other local municipality where they have criminal justice roles, then you want to say, seeking a role as a criminal investigator in a state or a federal agency, something like that. Tell people what you're looking for. Like, make it easy for them. Don't make them guess. Because if you just say, I got my degree in something, they're like, I don't know what they want to do. So don't make people guess on your headline. Get your headline really specific, and don't feel like it's got to be, some super elaborate, deep vocabulary filled, headline. Just tell people exactly what you're looking for. And again, this is mostly for college students, but this would work with anybody. If you were farther along in your career, you had a few jobs and you had a special thing you did, you could say, I do X for Y. I, generate more leads for clients. I teach introverts to be better networkers. Like those kind of things, just put that in your headline. Don't mess around with it. Just get to the point about what exactly do you do or what are you trying to do, and put that in your headline. So that's number one on the profile. And of course, your profile's got to be complete. You need the picture. You're going to need the banner if you can get a banner. They're real easy to create on Canva. It doesn't take a lot of time. Update your about section. Again, this is another opportunity if you really list out, here's what I'm really looking for, the type of roles I'm looking for, because there might be 5 or 6 different roles you could do. So list those roles that you're looking for in your about section and list your background and why. If you studied that, what courses did you study? If you interned, what was your internship about? And then, of course, in your experience section, get that complete as well. And don't just put your title, right? Like go into this and really tell people, here's the exact things I did in my internship or my first job or whatever. List that stuff out. It doesn't have to be super long, but like give people an idea of what you actually did. So like I said, the thing you don't want to do in your profile is make people guess. And so if it takes you filling out your profile and sending this to people and saying like, is it really clear what I'm looking for? Do that, get feedback. If they're like, I don't even know what you do, then you probably need to work on it. So profile is number one, and that's something you really want to get update. The other thing you want to do is you need to be connecting, right? I mean, I know you don't know a lot of people and you don't want to just connect with everybody, but like people in your field, people in your industry, people at your target companies or the places you want to work, that's what you want. That's who you want to be connecting with. And you don't necessarily have to always just send them a connection request. If it's somebody who is in your industry and you just go in LinkedIn in the search bar and type in the name of your industry, or you can type in the name of the position that you're interested in and see what it brings up. Don't limit it to people or posts or groups. Let's look at all of it, because those are all things. You want to see the people that are doing that job. You want to see the groups that exist out there. So like, for example, I was looking up criminal justice jobs. There's criminal justice job groups. So people who work in those jobs are in LinkedIn groups. Now, I don't know how active they are, but there's like 66,000 members in there. I mean, somebody's in there posting something. So join those groups, get in there and like see who's active and posting and start connecting with those people. When you connect, or if you don't want to connect with them, just follow them. Follow them and use the follow and comment strategy. Follow, and when they post, you'll see it in your feed. You go into your feed, you write a great comment, a really insightful comment, something that's going to be like, wow, this person took some time. And you got to kind of do this stuff. And remember, you're doing this in between applications and waiting to hear back, right? So sometimes we go apply for jobs and then we just sit there and wait. Well, while you're waiting, you can be on here connecting with people, following people, leaving comments, starting to maybe develop some relationships that might lead to other opportunities. So get the profile filled out and then start getting active on LinkedIn, start connecting, adding to your connection totals. Because the more people you kind of connect with, the more you're going to see in your feed, the more opportunities that might pop up. And that's really how you curate that feed, is by connecting and following with people. That's how LinkedIn knows what you want to see. So that's number one. I would say the second strategy that I would say is, you have been applying for jobs, and let's say you've applied for 30 jobs. Conceivably, those are 30 different employers. Maybe some of them are at the same employer, but I'm going to assume for this sake of this, 30 different employers. So there are 30 different companies or organizations. You could go on LinkedIn and you could search for people that either A, currently work there, or B, used to work there. And they're two different groups of people and they serve two different purposes, but they're both important. So the first one is, go into LinkedIn. When you do the search, type in one of the companies you applied to, type in the name of the company, and it's going to give you the opportunity to look at people that work there. So you can click people, and what you should be seeing is people who currently work at that company. Now, sometimes the filters are off, but generally speaking, that's what you're going to see. And start going through that list and start clicking on people's profile and reading it and see, do they ever post anything on LinkedIn? Do they ever comment anything on LinkedIn? Are they active? If they are, they're really good people to follow and connect with, because there's a high likelihood that if you send them a connection request and you say something like, I recently graduated with my degree in X, I am curious about jobs at the company or organization you work at, And I'm just trying to connect with people who could maybe share what it's like to work there. Okay. You're not saying I'm connecting with you because I want you to get me a job. You're just saying, I'd love to trade some messages or find out a little bit about what it's like to work at that company. Now, not everybody's going to be real active on LinkedIn. So you can connect with a lot of people and send that message. And if they're not active, it might take them a long time to get back to that message and accept. If they are active, it might be a little bit faster. So I would prioritize looking for people who seem like they either comment or post on LinkedIn. And commenting is okay too, because that means they're on the platform. They may not write their own posts, but you can go to their profile and you scroll down to the part that says activity. And you can click on all activity and go to comments, and you can see when the last time they commented was. If it's been in the last week or so, that's pretty good. If it's been a month, okay. If it gets more than a month, they might see your comment. They might see your connection request. It may take them a little bit of time to get back to you because they're just not on the platform that much. So that's group one, the people who currently work there. Group two, and this might even be more interesting depending on your field. Group two is people who used to work at the company that you're interested in. And so to do that, when you go into LinkedIn and you search for your company, and it's going to bring back all these results, there's a across the top, it'll say like people, posts, groups, and then it'll say see all filters. You want to click see all filters, and then you want to go all the way to the bottom and you want to find past companies. And it's probably going to have already pre-populated the company you were looking at. Click that. And then you're going to only see people in the results that worked there in the past, but don't work there anymore. And so the reason why you want to go to those people is they might be a little more open about what it's like to work there. They also might be more active on LinkedIn just because they've worked a couple places, and depending on your industry. So for example, this criminal justice industry I was looking at, a lot of people who are currently at federal and state agencies do not post much on LinkedIn. And I can understand why, right? You probably, if you work for one of those agencies, they probably don't really, I don't know, look kindly on people posting stuff about work. So people probably don't get on LinkedIn post a lot. But people who used to work there go to private industry and go do new things, and they might post more on LinkedIn. So you might go find people who have been at the company you're interested in the past, and you reach out to them and say, hey, I just graduated with my degree in this. I'm interested in this company. I know you worked there before. Would love to hear what it was like when you worked there. Now, you might get people who say it was terrible. Or you might have people that say, I loved it. So take it with a grain of salt, because really all you're trying to do is connect with people and find out sort of their thoughts, and maybe potentially you can get to a point in the conversation where you're like, is there anybody else I should talk to that worked there? And they might connect you with somebody who works there now. And then you've got a connection. So that's how you can kind of use LinkedIn. Now, remember what you're doing, you're starting from the list of jobs you've already applied to. So you already know what companies to look up. So that's a way to leverage that list. If you're keeping a list of the applications you've already sent in, that's a way to leverage that to start connecting and finding people so that you can create these connections and maybe get to a conversation that's going to move you along in a process, or get you introduced to somebody who can, or help you learn about roles you didn't even know were open. So that's, kind of a way to do that, like I said, gives you something to do while you're waiting. Now, I would say the bonus on this, and this is what you should do as you're connecting with these people. And if you start to connect with people and they're willing to talk to you and say like, yeah, I'll give you 15 minutes to talk about what it's like to work at this company or in this industry, keep track of all that information, right? So really what you want to do is you want to say like, I'm doing, and you can even say as to people, I'm doing a project, I'm a college graduate, I'm trying to get a job, but I'm talking to people what it's like to work in this industry for real. And I'm talking to real people, and I'm just kind of gathering their insights. Don't worry, I'll keep it anonymous. I won't tell anybody who you are, but what are the, 2 or 3 tips you would give to somebody who was trying to get a job in this industry? And if they're like, yeah, sure, I'll give that to you. And they might send you a written response. They might say, yeah, let's set up a quick call, and you have a quick call with them. But keep track of all of that and basically tell them, like, I'm putting this all together. When I get back together, I'll send it to you so you can kind of see what everybody else said. And again, remember, you don't have to put in people's names. You can just kind of keep it confidential for people so they're more willing to talk to you about it. And then what you're doing there is they feel like they're a part of creating something. That's number one. Number two, they kind of want to hear what everybody else said. Even if they don't admit it, they might be a little curious. So you say, when I'm all done, I'll send you my final document and my final product, and you can take a look at it, which gives you a reason to follow up with them and to check back in with them later on. And the third thing is that really shows that you're going above and beyond in terms of creating value for people. And it'll show that you have a bit of a drive and ambition that other people aren't showing, because most people are going to ping them and be like, hey, I'm interested in working at this place. Who do you know? Well, nobody likes to get that pitch because it feels very sort of taking. It doesn't feel very good. It's kind of awkward. But if you say, hey, I would love your advice. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'm collecting it. I'll put it together. I'll share all this other advice with you so you can see what other people say. And they might be like, whatever. I've worked in this industry for 20 years. I don't really care. But you never know. It's just a good way. And they'll probably be like, yeah, sure, send it along. But again, it gives you a reason to follow up. And then when you do follow up, you've demonstrated you're somebody who's going to do what you say you're going to do and put something great together. And then they'll, oh, cool. This is somebody who, if somebody asked me, hey, do you know anybody who's new in this field and is just trying to break in? We're hiring people. You're going to stand out because you went above and beyond, and then be like, yeah, I met this person who did this really cool thing. I'd never seen it done before. You should totally talk to this person. So look, you're out there, you're applying, you're looking for jobs. I know you're smashing the apply button. You're doing everything you can. These are some additional things you can do that leverage the information you already have. So I'm not asking you to do a bunch more research. I'm saying already take the places you're applying, try to connect with people there, try to get, some relationships or conversations going. And then hopefully that's going to lead you to more opportunities or open some other doors for you. So those are some things I would tell college graduates who are out there applying, trying to network, trying to get in the door and break into that first role. So hopefully that helped. If you know a college graduate who's going through this, send them this video, send them this podcast, send them this newsletter this week. If you are somebody who's going through the job search, this works for you too. You can do all these same things if you're in your own job search. So it's for anybody who's out there actively searching and ways to use LinkedIn in order to up your networking game. So hopefully that helped. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the newsletter. As always, go out, have a great week, meet some interesting people. Remember, always be connecting.